Good morning, everyone, and let me open with something that may genuinely catch you off guard. For decades, the medical world has told older adults to slow down, ease off, and simply accept the decline that comes with aging. But what if that advice is backwards? What if the real keys to staying sharp, capable, and self reliant at 75, 80, even 85 aren't found in your doctor's standard checklist, but in a handful of everyday habits that most people quietly stopped doing years ago? I'm Dr. Will Graham, and after more than 20 years treating patients between 75 and 85, I've witnessed firsthand what science is now starting to validate. The people who age the most gracefully, the ones still driving to their own appointments, still tending their gardens, still recalling every grandchild's birthday without a reminder, aren't relying on pricey pills. They share a precise set of daily behaviors. A major Stanford Center on Longevity study tracked over 4,200 people aged 70 to 90 across 12 years. The results were eye-opening. Those who kept up four or more of these specific habits were 61% less likely to suffer what scientists call accelerated functional decline. STOW, the rapid slide into dependence that pushes so many seniors into assisted living sooner than necessary. 61%. That's the gap between running your own life and having someone else run it for you. Before we get into the list, I know some of you will want to jump ahead. The single most powerful habit on this list, the one almost nobody discusses, has little to do with traditional diet or exercise advice. Most heart specialists never even mention it. Yet research out of Johns Hopkins and the University of Edinburgh suggests it might be the strongest single predictor of staying mentally and physically independent past 75. So stick around till the end. This one could reshape how you live the rest of your life. But first, tell me something. Drop your age in the comments. 68, 74, 81, whatever it is, and let me know which of these habits you think you already practice. I read every comment, every single one. This community matters enormously to me, so share your story below. Now let's go through them, counting down from 6 to 1, starting with something deceptively simple. But the science behind it is far from basic. Number 6, hydrating with intention, not by accident. Here's where most people go wrong after 75. They assume hydration works the same as it did at 45. It doesn't. Past 70, kidney filtering efficiency drops by roughly 40%. Your thirst signals weaken dramatically, so you can be seriously dehydrated without ever feeling thirsty. And your blood's capacity to deliver oxygen and nutrients to your brain and muscles falls noticeably with every bit of fluid you lose. Picture your bloodstream as a supply route. When the river runs shallow, delivery trucks slow down, shipments get lost, and the whole system starts to falter. That's chronic mild dehydration in the aging body. A European Journal of Nutrition study covering 3,500 adults over 70 found that those drinking more than 1.8 liters daily had 38% fewer urinary tract infections, 29% fewer falls. Dehydration badly affects balance and reflexes, and notably sharper short-term memory scores. Your brain is roughly 75% water. Even a 2% dip causes measurable cognitive slowdown at any age. After 75, that effect intensifies because your brain's backup systems are already stretched thin, just maintaining normal function. Here's the habit separating exceptional seniors from the rest. They don't drink water only when they remember. They drink 12 to 16 ounces immediately upon waking. Before coffee, before breakfast, before anything. Overnight, your body loses fluid through breathing and light sweating, and past 75, your overnight fluid loss runs about 30% higher than in midlife. Then they add a small glass with each meal, plus one more mid-afternoon. The key pairing tip: add a pinch of quality sea salt or an electrolyte tablet to your morning water, not table salt. After 75, kidneys struggle more to hold onto sodium. And without it, water passes through without properly hydrating your cells. Margaret, 81, from Boise, came to me with afternoon brain fog, dizzy spells on standing, and what she called thinking through cotton wool. She wasn't severely dehydrated, just chronically underhydrated. We made one adjustment, properly timed hydration with morning electrolytes. 6 weeks later, she said it felt like someone had wiped the windows of her mind clean. Her balance and afternoon fatigue both improved. One habit, real results. Number 5, resistance training, twice a week minimum. I need to clarify something often misunderstood. Resistance training doesn't mean hitting the gym and lifting heavy. It means any movement where your muscles push against resistance. A band, a light dumbbell, wall push-ups, even carrying groceries with intention. This distinction matters because of anabolic resistance, the aging body's reduced ability to respond to protein and exercise stimulation. Practically, this means past 75, your body needs a stronger, more deliberate signal to maintain the same muscle a 50-year-old keeps with half the work. Your muscles aren't lazy, they're just harder to activate. Neglect them, and you trigger sarcopenia, progressive muscle loss, which Mayo Clinic research links to a 47% higher fall risk, a 53% greater chance of losing independence in daily tasks within 5 years, and a shortened lifespan overall. A Tufts University study had adults 75 to 85 start twice-weekly resistance training. After 10 weeks, 37% average gain in leg strength, 28% better balance, and, surprisingly, measurable improvement in insulin sensitivity, which affects energy, inflammation, and brain function. Muscle mitochondria, your cellular power plants, regenerate more efficiently with resistance work. You're not just building muscle, you're rebuilding your entire energy system. Practical plan, 2 to 3 20 to 30-minute sessions weekly, targeting major muscle groups, legs, hips, back. Resistance bands work great for seniors since they build strength progressively without stressing joints. Pairing tip, eat 25 to 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of training. Past 75, the window during which muscles can efficiently use protein for repair is shorter and less forgiving. Timing isn't optional at this stage, it's essential. Number 4, a steady, deliberate sleep routine. Quick note, if this content is useful, hit subscribe, and if someone in your life between 70 and 90 needs this information, send it their way. This channel exists for one purpose, to give seniors the science their doctors rarely have time to explain. Back to sleep. And this is more complex than just an early bedtime. Past 75, your circadian rhythm starts to shift and weaken significantly. Melatonin production drops by about 70% compared to age 30. Deep, slow-wave sleep, the most restorative stage, falls by up to 80% from your 30s levels. This is when human growth hormone gets released, driving cellular repair, immunity, and muscle maintenance. Here's what most don't realize. Poor sleep past 75 isn't just about fatigue. A UC Berkeley study found that adults over 70 with disrupted sleep had 68% more amyloid plaque buildup, the same plaques tied to Alzheimer's. People who excel at this don't just sleep more, they sleep consistently. Bedtime within the same 30-minute window nightly. Same wake time every day, weekends included. Bedroom kept between 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, since temperature regulation during sleep weakens past 75, and cooler rooms support deeper sleep. They avoid screens for an hour before bed, not just for blue light, but because mental stimulation keeps the prefrontal cortex active, delaying sleep onset by an average 47 minutes in over 70s per Harvard Medical School research. Pairing tip, add 10 minutes of slow diaphragmatic breathing before bed. This activates your parasympathetic, rest and repair, nervous system, and can cut nighttime cortisol by up to 22%, making deep sleep easier to reach and sustain. Number 3, eating protein deliberately, spread across the day. This is the most dangerous misconception I see, and it genuinely worries me as a doctor, the idea that you need less protein as you age. That's not just wrong, it might be one of the most damaging nutrition myths ever passed down. The truth is the opposite. Past 75, because of anabolic resistance, your body actually needs 50 to 75% more protein per pound of body weight than a healthy 30-year-old to maintain the same muscle. Yet most seniors eat far less than they need, often because appetite shrinks and carb-heavy meals feel easier. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, covering 2,700 adults aged 70 to 85, found that those eating at least 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight daily, spread across 3 or more meals, kept significantly more muscle, had 41% fewer fall-related hospitalizations, and showed better immune responses to common infections like flu and pneumonia. Think of protein as the building bricks your body uses for overnight repair. Each night, your body breaks down damaged tissue and rebuilds it. Without enough bricks, reconstruction stays incomplete. Over years, that shortfall becomes severe. Practical approach: target 25 to 35 grams of protein at each main meal, roughly 4 to 5 ounces of chicken, fish, eggs, Greek yogurt, or legumes. Distribution matters because aging muscles can only use about 35 to 40 grams of protein per sitting for repair. Beyond that, it's just burned for energy. Spreading intake out makes every gram count. James, 78, from Scottsdale, came to me after his daughter noticed he'd lost nearly 18 pounds that his previous doctor dismissed as normal aging. It wasn't normal. He was losing muscle, not fat, and his grip strength, a strong longevity predictor, had dropped to the bottom 15th percentile for his age. We restructured his meals around deliberate protein. 12 weeks later, he'd regained 11 pounds of lean mass, his grip strength climbed to the 60th percentile, and he proudly told me he'd carried his own groceries in from the car for the first time in 2 years. Pairing tip: combine protein meals with vitamin C, an orange, bell pepper, a squeeze of lemon since vitamin C drives collagen production, which works alongside protein to maintain muscle, joint cartilage, and skin integrity. Number 2, daily intentional social connection. I told you one of the top 2 would surprise you. This is it, because it sounds too soft to qualify as medical advice. But I assure you, the research on social connection and longevity past 75 is some of the most rigorous in modern gerontology. A Brigham Young University analysis covering over 300,000 adults found that chronic social isolation carries a mortality risk comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Let that sink in. Being isolated is as deadly as a pack-a-day plus smoking habit. The National Institute on Aging found that loneliness speeds cognitive decline by up to 64%, raises dementia risk by 41%, and significantly elevates inflammatory markers, interleukin-6 and C-reactive protein draw, that damage the heart, immune system, and brain connectivity. Here's the biology: real, engaged human interaction, not passive screen time, not sitting silently near someone watching TV, triggers oxytocin release, which lowers cortisol, reduces inflammation, and keeps the prefrontal cortex firing in ways that preserve neural density. Think of your social brain like a muscle. The neurons firing during genuine conversation, laughter, and emotional connection are the same ones managing memory and decision-making. Go quiet too long, and those pathways start getting pruned. Past 75, neuroplasticity is already reduced, making lost pathways harder to rebuild. The fix: aim for at least one genuinely engaged social interaction daily. A real phone call counts. A community group, faith gathering, walking buddy, or regular lunch with a neighbor all count. What doesn't count neurologically is passive presence. You need to be actively responding, laughing, disagreeing, sharing. Dorothy, 83, from Charleston, lost her husband of 54 years and withdrew almost entirely. Her daughter brought her in 8 months later, and her cognitive scores had measurably dropped. We didn't touch her medications. We built a social routine, weekly book club, a daily 20-minute call with rotating family and friends, twice weekly library volunteering. 8 months on, her cognition was back near baseline, and her inflammation markers had dropped. Her daughter said she felt like herself again. Pairing tip: combine social time with light movement when possible. A walk with a friend, a gentle group exercise class, gardening with a neighbor. University of British Columbia research shows combining social interaction with light activity produces a stronger boost to BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, than either alone. Think of BDNF as fertilizer for brain cells. And now, number 1, a habit fewer than 12% of adults over 75 maintain regularly, which Johns Hopkins researchers call the most underused prescription-free longevity tool available. Daily, purposeful mental challenge. Not crosswords, not passive reading. Both have value, but I mean something more demanding, learning something genuinely new every day. A skill, a language, an instrument, a creative pursuit that pushes your brain into productive discomfort. Here's why it's number 1. Past 75, your brain leans heavily on established neural shortcuts. It gets remarkably efficient at familiar tasks and resistant to forming new ones grow. Not a flaw, but an energy-conserving survival trait. The problem: this preference for the familiar is exactly what drains cognitive reserve, your brain's buffer against age-related decline, like RAM in a computer. More reserve means more resilience before symptoms appear. The University of Edinburgh's Lothian birth cohort study, tracking over 1,000 adults from their 70s into their late 80s, found those doing novel, challenging mental activities for 30-plus minutes daily had 47% slower brain shrinkage on MRI, better processing speed and memory, and were 38% less likely to be diagnosed with dementia over the following decade. The Rush Memory and Aging Project separately found seniors describing their lives as intellectually stimulating showed brain function matching adults a decade younger. The mechanism is neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to form new connections. It slows with age but never vanishes, remaining capable of real structural change into your 80s, given enough stimulus. Novel learning provides exactly that. Learning a new language activates 5 brain regions at once and, per American Academy of Neurology research, can delay dementia onset by an average of 4.5 years. Learning an instrument combines fine motor control, hearing, memory, and emotion in ways nothing else replicates. Even learning a new cuisine, with its reading, sequencing, and sensory demands, offers real cognitive benefit. Practical plan: pick one new skill every 3 to 4 months. Spend 20 to 30 minutes daily actively practicing it. Actively is key. Watching guitar tutorials isn't learning guitar. Struggling through chords with the instrument in hand is. That struggle, that discomfort, is where the brain benefit lives. It's resistance training for your mind. The resistance is the point. Robert, 79, from Portland, retired after 40 years as a civil engineer and spent his first 3 retirement years doing little that challenged him mentally. He came to me noticing trouble recalling names and following complex conversations. His MRI was age-typical, but his cognitive reserve scores were lower than I'd like. My prescription? Pick something he'd always wanted to try and do it daily. He chose oil painting, never having touched a brush before. He was terrible at first, by his own admission. 18 months later, he'd completed 23 paintings, joined a local art group, covering habit number 2 simultaneously, and his follow-up assessments showed improvement, not just stability, in 3 of 5 cognitive domains. Improvement at 79. Pairing tip: combine daily mental challenge with omega-3 intake, specifically DHA, found in salmon, mackerel, sardines, or quality fish oil. DHA is the main structural fat in brain cell membranes, and Framingham Heart Study data shows higher DHA levels correlate with stronger neuroplasticity response to cognitive training. Essentially, DHA helps your brain absorb the benefits of what you're learning. All studies referenced are linked in the description. Read them, discuss them with your doctor, and have an informed conversation about what fits your situation. Let me close with this. From the heart, I've sat across from enough patients aged 75 to 85 to know this stage of life gets treated too often as a countdown rather than a continuation. It isn't one. What the research shows is something medicine is only just beginning to fully grasp. That body and mind at 75, 80, 85 retain a stubborn, remarkable capacity for resilience. Not despite age, but in conversation with it. These 6 habits, strategic hydration, resistance movement, consistent sleep, deliberate protein intake, daily connection, and purposeful mental challenge, aren't about reversing time. They're about making the fullest possible use of the time you have left, carrying your own groceries, remembering your grandchildren's names, driving yourself to appointments, laughing until your eyes water at dinner with someone who matters. That's what independence looks like. That's quality of life. I've seen it firsthand in patients who were told there was nothing left to improve. It's never too late to start. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Every week, I share research backed health information specifically for seniors that I genuinely believe can add years of quality to your life. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and never miss an episode. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your age in the comments and tell me which habit you're already strong in and which one you want to build next. I'll be reading every reply. This is one of the most engaged, thoughtful communities I've ever been part of, and that's entirely thanks to you. See you in the next one. Take good care of yourself. You're worth it.